Hey guys, it's AC. Welcome to my house, and today we're going to talk about hellfire. Woo! Sounds like a risky topic, but I want to tell you, you really, really want this. This is better than fat fire. This is better than Mo-Fire. How can you be better than Mo-Fire? Well, hellfire is more than double Mo-Fire. Hellfire says if you have a monthly budget of $41,666, oh, another reference to the devil. I don't know if I want this. But Hellfire says if you have a monthly budget of $41,666 a month, well, you've achieved Hellfire if you have income to support that monthly budget, which actually multiplied by 12 makes an annual budget of $500,000. So really it's a $500,000 spend rate every single year is Hellfire. And I'm going to teach you why house fire is the best way to reach Hellfire. Honestly, if you don't even do anything in house fire, you're going to have a hard time reaching Hellfire. So let's dive into the spreadsheet so you can see the math behind this and why I try to teach everyone to go down this path. Aim for Hellfire, because it's going to be easier than you think to get there. So here we are, traditional FIRE numbers. If you're not familiar with FIRE, it stands for financial independence, retiring early. The math behind it is from a Trinity study. Mathematicians looked at the worst and the best in the historic stock markets for the last 50, 60 years and determined if you had 25 times your annual budget, you could early retire by withdrawing 4% a year. So in the spreadsheet, if your monthly expenses were $8,333, well, that means you spend $100,000 a year. 8,333 times 12 is $100,000. So 25 times that, $2.5 million. Great. If you save up $2.5 million, you can retire, but you got to save up $2.5 million first. That's going to take a long time investing in stocks. It's possible, a 30-year career, putting in money in your 401k, your IRA, you'll get there. Sure. Hopefully you have a high income and a high savings rate, but you can do it and then you can retire because $2.5 million in stocks and mutual funds or what have you, if you pull out 4% a year, 4% of $2.5 million is $100,000. So that means you pull out $100,000 every year, spend $100,000. Pull out $100,000 the next year, spend $100,000. And that balance of $2.5 million will cover you for all the ups and downs in the market based on historic data. Great. We all love math. We all trust math. So let's just save $2.5 million and then live on a constrained budget of $100,000. Now I say that jokingly, $100,000, you're not going to be constrained most likely, but you have to stay within that budget to make the math work. Now Mo-Fire is double that. Mo stands for morbidly obese fire. Someone made this up at some point to be funny and say, hey, I want double the life of fat fire. Let's call it morbidly obese fire. And that's a monthly spend rate of $16,667, which is a $200,000 annual budget, which you need to save double as well, $5 million. I get to pull 4% of my $5 million portfolio every year, and I will have $200,000 that day, and I can save that and spend it over the next 365 days until I do it again. Well, Hellfire, which I think we should all aim for, is $41,666 a month, and that's pretty crazy. How are you going to spend that much? Well, having every luxury in life is what hell stands for in this case. And so you need to have $12.5 million. Now, that number sounds crazy. I will never save up to $12.5 million. And that's the beauty of house fire, which I'm about to teach you. You don't need $12 million to live the hellfire life. How so? Well, let's have a look. All right, so I just jumped on the MLS to see what's available. Honestly, this search took me less than 10 seconds. All these things I found in a 5-minute prep for this video. I have not analyzed these deals to make sure that they're good deals, but assuming everything's at face value and possibly overpriced, which is why they're still on the market, we're just going to take the face value to teach you the house fire method here. So looking at this property on Lucy Street, it's a combination of a bunch of duplexes, 4 turnkey duplexes, the listing says. So you add up all these numbers. This one gets this rent and that rent and this rent and that rent. Right, okay, we're going to add up all those numbers and say, let's buy a cash flowing investment property with our money instead of plugging it away in stocks and savings. So let's take all these numbers and put them in the spreadsheet. Here you go, 2.1 purchase price. That's what it was for the multiple duplexes in the listing. I'm going to assume we didn't get a mortgage. We just sold some stock and put it into this house. $2.1 million. Well, our monthly income, if you added it up, all those rental incomes, feel free to double check my math, but it was $13,113 a month. I'm going to assume there's 30% expenses. Maybe 5 to 8% go to a property manager. I mean, that's on the low end, but sometimes when you have this portfolio of properties, you can negotiate a discount. But even if we call it 10%, that's fine. We're going to calculate that. And maybe another 20% for landlord fees and expenses and vacancies, CapEx stuff like roof repair in the future. We're just going to budget for these things. Someone's already living in it. It's a livable house. It doesn't need any fix-ups right away. We're going to assume just eyeballing the listing. And well, of course, that monthly cash flow makes us achieve H.E.L.F.I.R.E, $9,000. It actually is better than H.E.L.F.I.R.E for us. And we didn't have to save up $2.5 million. So already, this is a faster way to reach H.E.L.F.I.R.E. It saved us $400,000. Not only that, I have a $1,000 buffer, well, $800 buffer each month to whatever, spend on myself. Or maybe it's an extra budget for expenses on this property. But hopefully over time, if we manage this properly or the property manager we hire manages it properly, we can get the rents up and there's no mortgage. So I think we're going to be pretty covered here and used H.E.L.F.I.R.E to get to H.E.L.F.I.R.E much faster than waiting to save an extra $400,000. Now, how do we get to H.E.L.F.I.R.E? Well, H.E.L.F.I.R.E is double this, right? You're going to have to save $5 million. We could go out and buy another Lucy Street listing, assuming it exists, and it's going to cost us $4.2 million, which is much faster than saving for $5 million. But I found another property for us to look at. So here's another multifamily listing, different product. This is student housing right by some universities here in Atlanta, and it gets great cash flow. It's $2.4 million, and well, you got 3,600, 3,600, 2,400, 7,300. You add up all these. Let's see what it looks like in the spreadsheet, assuming that this property that's been on the market, 50 days is overpriced, but we're still going to give them their list price of $2.4 million. And this is how these numbers shape up. 2.4 million, $17,000 monthly income. We're going to assume 30% of expenses. Student housing is going to have some extra overhead most likely, but this is also why it's making more money, more headaches, more problem. But you want to early retire, we can outsource this. We'll pay for a property manager. Let's work that into our $30,000 budget, which I still think is safe because we're going to buy this in all cash. Now, I'm all about leverage, which we'll get to in the next column when we get to H.E.L.F.I.R.E. But for now, we're going to assume all cash buyer here. And what that shapes up to is all in $4.5 million. This person bought Lucy Street for 2.1. They bought McMillan for 2.4, add that up, 4.5 million, cheaper than saving for $500,000. And of course, you're making more money. Here, monthly cash flow is $21,000. That is a pretty hefty margin over the $16,000 that you need to live within a budget in H.E.L.F.I.R.E. So we're saving less, we're making more. You're seeing the beauty of H.E.L.F.I.R.E. And this is without the tool of leverage. So how do we get from H.E.L.F.I.R.E. to H.E.L.F.I.R.E.? Well, I'm going to tell you, this is where the fun starts. First, we got to buy a property that is worthy of a H.E.L.F.I.R.E. investor. So remember, here we are, H.E.L.F.I.R.E. We need $41,666 monthly expenses covered and an annual cash flow of $500,000. Can we get it done on the Crexi website with their calculators? Let's have a look. All right, guys, I'm going to search on a commercial website called Crexi.com. Let's just pick this big one at the top here. $23 million shopping center in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm not evaluating this deal. I'm just showing you we're taking these numbers at surface value and what it means in a house fire and hellfire concept. Okay, so here we go. $23 million, and I love this because I want to retire early. I want to live on the beach, and I love these three letters here, NNN. That's short for triple net. Now, what that means is that the tenants are paying everything. Triple net, they are paying the property taxes. They are paying the insurance on the property. They are paying for all the repairs. I am completely hands off, absolute triple net landlord here, where I don't have to do any repairs. And it should be completely hands off. At least that's how this listing is pitching it to us. And this is a product that exists out here. That's not unusual. If you only look for triple net, you are going to typically have very little involvement as a landlord. Cap rate here is 7.5%. Looking at the net operating income. Net means what's left over after gross operating income, which is all the income minus the expenses. All the expenses is your net operating income, which is $1.7 million a year. Wow. So how are we going to pull this off? Again, this is a almost $23 million property. Well, first, back to the spreadsheet. You'll see here, I need $41,000, 666 of expenses covered every month. How are we going to get there? Do I really have to save $12.5 million? Well, thankfully, Crexy's got a little calculator to help us figure that out. Let's see. The purchase price is already populated in there. The down payment. Let's see if we can pull this off with, I don't know, $7 million. That sounds crazy. I'll tell you this is interest rate. Maybe we don't get a great interest rate. Maybe we get 4.25%. And most commercial deals are 20-year amortization instead of 30. Okay, some of you already see the results here. Look at this. I have a $43,000 a month coming in. My annual cash flow is $526. This is cash flow. I don't have to budget for repairs. I don't have to budget for property taxes. I don't have to budget for anything landlord related. Possibly vacancies. Okay, I'll give you that. We may have some vacancies. But again, we only spent $7 million instead of saving $12.5 million. So I take these numbers and I put them in my spreadsheet. So here we are back in the spreadsheet. I took those numbers from that calculator, triple net power center, just over $23 million. I only spent $7 million. My monthly income's $142,000. But my mortgage payment, right? My mortgage payment's going to be $96,000 a month. Ooh, that sounds scary until you look at, hey, my cash flow is $45,000 a month. And that is more than Hellfire. Again, I'm an overachiever. We overachieved here. Not only did we only have to save $2 million more than the MoFire number, I mean, that's $5.5 million less. And using leverage, we get $41,000 a monthly cash flow. Talk about living large and having every luxury in life covered. You guys see the beauty of Hellfire? See how it's actually not that crazy to think that you can achieve it? Most fire traditionalists think they have to be a millionaire to Fat Fire, that you have to have a multi-millionaire. You have to be $2.5 million. And I'm saying, guys, yeah, you can. But with leverage, you can get to Fat Fire quickly instead of buying things all cash. With leverage, you can get to MoFire quickly instead of buying everything all cash. And with Hellfire, you can get there super fast, leveraging everything. So I know $7 million sounds crazy, but it's better than saving $12.5 million. And this is the beauty of H.E.L.L.F.I.R.E, using cash flowing real estate to fund your early retirement. And I hope you see the beauty in this. So please consider that a mortgage can help you achieve your financial goals if used wisely here. And if you're worried about that vacancy, that one thing, there might be a vacancy, well, go buy another property. Go spend $2.4 million and buy the McMillan property. Go spend $2.1 and buy that Lucy Street property. And the more properties you have, the less your risk goes down, because one vacancy in that strip mall will be propped up by the other properties that you're buying. Actually, the more properties you buy, the lower the risk because of that. The winners are going to carry the losers. That's just how it works. And sometimes there's going to be the winner over here, and sometimes this is going to be the loser. And then sometimes they might flip-flop and switch, but they're balancing each other out. If you have all your property in cash in one property, well, that is super, super risky, which is why I recommend reduce risk by getting a mortgage and spread that risk out as many different properties as possible. So there you have it. That is how you reach Hellfire, and I think you have it in you. So please like and subscribe right now. I need your YouTube love. Please, if you've made it this far to the video, I know you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait for you to go share this with your friends and teach them the ways of house fire, which you can buy in the book here, right over my shoulder. So I'll see you next time on the House of AC, and thanks for tuning in.